Hello, this is Mike Raber here, and welcome to the New Agent Accelerator program. One of the things that I found when I first started out my career in real estate was not knowing exactly how to properly prepare for a listing appointment. And if I am prepared, what do I need to bring with me? Naturally, you have things like a CMA or comparative market analysis. You have the company related stuff that you put together in a packet to give to the clients to introduce your company and why they should do business with the company. What about you? Do you have things that are designed around why should they do business with you? And or more importantly, do you have things that actually serve the needs or questions that they may have and show you as the expert, as the true trusted advisor, and lets them know without actually necessarily having to tell them that you are there to serve them? I want to take you back many years ago. I had a listing appointment, and it was an engineer and accountant, and they were getting ready to sell their house, and then they wanted to buy another house. So it was a pretty big, it was in one of the nicer neighborhoods that we serviced. So needless to say, it was a pretty big appointment for me. So I spent probably 2 or 3 hours putting together this really beautiful listing presentation, put this compare market analysis in there. Also, there's information about the company and how we were number one and how I did a lot in the area and why they should do business with me and all the stats that I thought would impress, especially the husband being an engineer. And I was off doing other stuff and got caught up in traffic. And unfortunately, I left the presentation at the office. And had I went back and got the presentation, I would have likely been late for the appointment. So I had to make a decision. Do I go to the office, try to change the time for a later point, which isn't really that professional? Or do I hurry and try to get there in time, hoping I'm not late with the risk of being late, which also isn't very professional? Or do I just leave it at the office, get to the appointment on time, give myself time to relax, to breathe, to get ready to go in, and just show up and be a trusted advisor and let them know I could give it to them later? I chose that option. So here I am pulling into the driveway, and I'm looking around. The only thing I had in the car with me at the time was a legal pad and a pen. So I go to the door and knock on the door, I introduce myself. We go into the kitchen. I'm not sure why 95 or 98% of real estate presentations are done in the kitchen, but it seems to be the way. So there we are in the kitchen at the kitchen table. And I let them know that funny thing, I had actually put together this really nice presentation for you. And I had it get stuck in traffic. I explained to them what happened, told them that for me, as an ultimate professional, being here on time, being here to serve you was more important than risking trying to get back at the presentation and then risk being late. I can always bring a presentation. I would love to bring a presentation itself to you at a different time later today, whatever fits your time frame, but I wanted to at least make sure I was here on time for you. So how can I serve you? And then I was quiet and I let them ask a few questions. And then I looked at my pad and I said, tell you what, I pick up the pad, I put it in front of me, and I look at the two sellers and I pick up my pen and say, pretend my pen is a magic wand. I want you to explain, if I could wave the magic wand, what would your best selling experience look like? And I just sat there and wrote about a page and a half of notes. Then when they finished telling me that, I said, okay, now on the flip side, let's say you had the worst selling experience, a thing that would wake up in the middle of the night, oh no, and freaking out because you're selling your house and all these things are happening. What might that look like? And they were quiet for probably a minute or so, and then they just started to tell me all their fears of putting their house on the market. And then they went into the fears of trying to buy another house. What happens if we sell our house before you find another house? Will we be homeless? All the typical fears that a homeowner has when they're in this situation. And again, I'm taking notes after notes after notes. And now I'm probably 4 pages into it. And then stop and said, okay, now because you want to buy another house, what would your ideal home buying experience look like? Another page or so of notes. And I then said, okay, and again, what would your worst home buying experience look like? Another page and a half of notes. So at the end of the appointment, I had 6.5, 7 pages of notes that talked about all the fears, all the things that they were hoping for, that they were worried about. And Of course, I asked them questions about the house, and they, in the process of explaining the situation, especially the fears, they pointed out all the things that were wrong. What happened to the bar? There's a crack over there. Are we going to have to replace the window beforehand? And what if the inspection comes in? What if? You know how that routine goes. So anyway, I then thanked them for their time and told them that I'm not going to go back to the office. And on my way home later that night, I would swing by and drop the presentation that I was going to show them by in their door, just so if they want to look at it in the morning, it's there for them to see. And off I go. I'm thinking to myself, man, messed that one up. What a great opportunity too. And they were such nice people. I really wanted to work with them at this point. And so I get back to the office and I sit down at my desk and there's a message waiting for me on my desk phone. So I answer the phone. It's like, hey, and push listen. And I hear the wife of the seller say, Mike, we talked about it after you left, and we really, really appreciate the time you took, and you really asking us questions that meant a lot to us. She said, we decided that we want you to sell our house. If you still want to drop off the presentation for my husband to look at, I'm sure he'd get a kick out of it, but know the listing is yours. So go ahead and fill out the listing paperwork and attach that to the presentation. Leave it in the door because we're going to go to bed early tonight and we'll get to it in the morning. But know that we're going to sign it first thing in the morning and then we can pick it up or we can drop it off at your office later in the day. But let's get this process going. And then she pauses. She said, Mike, we actually talked to 3 other agents before talking to you. And you were the only one that we really felt listened to us, that heard us. And that is why you got our listing. And I almost fell out of my chair. I was like, wow. I said nothing. I didn't talk about my company once. I talked a little bit about my experience, but not much. It was all about them. 7 pages worth of about them. And so I got the listing, we sold the house, found them another house, new construction. And there was a whole nother series of hiccups with that, as there usually is in transactions, and we were able to work through those. Another story for another time. But it was amazing how, because I had the 7 pages of notes, how much better I was able to serve them. Because I knew what the fears were, I could put together information on the inspection or information on the MLS and how that works. And I basically used their 7 sheets of notes I got from them and their fears. And I started asking other clients, what fears do they have? What questions do they have? And I put together this whole series of notes on what are the things that a buyer and or seller really care about, really want to know when it comes to putting together selling their house or buying a house. And that then became my presentation. So instead of now going into a listing presentation with all this stuff about my company, yes, I had stuff about my company, but most of it was just these questions. And it became a way for me to offset a lot of the potential things that might come up through the transaction, which made the transactions run a lot smoother. And the other thing that I do too is, because I know that there's times where clients do freak out, it's natural, is I had a relationship with one of the pharmacists in my neighborhood. In fact, he actually thought it was quite funny. I would swing by the pharmacist every time my supply got low, and I would get empty pill containers. And you only need 5 or 10 about how much production you do, but I would get the medicine containers that, like, if you go get antibiotics or whatever, and they put them in these little bottles. And there were empty bottles. They would usually have the pharmacy name, like in this case, it was Fitzy's Pharmacy. So it would have on the top of it, on the lid, Fitzy's Pharmacy. But then the label itself, or the bottle itself, was clear. So I then could put my label on it. And what I would do is I would take M&Ms and I would fill it full of M&Ms. And then after everything was done, paperwork was signed, usually a day or so afterwards, I would pop by just to check. And sometimes I would do it after the appointment, depending on how nervous the client was. And I would say, now, I promise you, there are going to be nights where you're going to wake up in the middle of the night freaking out. Oh no, what if this happens? And you're not going to be able to go back to sleep. What I want you to do is, when this happens, I want you to wake up, take one of these magic pills. I want you to open up the top and take one of the magic pills, the M&Ms, out of it. And I want you to take one of those with a half a glass of water and go back to sleep. Don't drink too much water because you want to wake up because of the water. And then go back to sleep. And in the morning, call me and we can go over whatever that concern was. 80% of the time, the concern never came about. So they didn't call me in the morning. It just was something in the middle of the night that woke them up. But then It was funny because I would get calls from, in fact, I got a call a couple weeks ago from a client who said, Mike, you're right, that happened. I woke up, I took the M&M, and by the way, I love M&Ms. And I went back to sleep. I slept like a baby. Thank you so much. So there's little tricks that you can do, and I'll continue in these little wisdom moments that we're going to have, or wisdom nuggets that we're going to have moving forward within the referral mindset program. I'll continue to share things like this that I've done throughout my career that I found very successful. But the point of right now, the point of my sharing the story with you for today is with this course, with the Real Estate Accelerator, besides the app, besides the training, besides all the other stuff that you're going to get by being part of our community now, I want to make sure that you have the paperwork, the questions, the sheets that I gave all of my clients, so you can put together your own presentations. You can give it to your clients. And I guarantee you that if you utilize these in your different appointments, put together a booklet, however you want to use it, just if you're going to share with somebody else, I ask that you let them know that it's because of your referral mindset that you got these, and they're copyrighted, so for that matter. But in any case, make sure that you remember, show up as a trusted advisor, not just a real estate agent. And that's what's going to set you apart from everybody else out there in the industry. If you have questions, let me know. You should, by this point, hopefully know how to find me. And I hope you enjoyed the mini documents that is in the Accelerator program. And again, if you have questions, let me know. Otherwise, one of the benefits of being part of our community is we're doing monthly, if not bi-monthly, office hours where I'll be on a call for like 90 minutes and you can ask questions and I'll answer your questions. And again, I have well over 30 years of experience in real estate. Was a state certified instructor. Probably my peak, I think I had 10 different designations. So there's not many things I haven't seen in the industry. And if I don't, I mean, no one's knows everything. And I certainly fall into that realm. But if I don't have the answer, I know where I can find the answer. So be on these office hours and share your questions. Or if you know something that you think would help other agents on the call, share it. I want it to be an open format where you can ask questions, you can share information, share successes. Every week we'll say who got a new listing, who got a new sale, who has whatever successes, so we can help you celebrate those successes. And really, I want this to be a mastermind. I want it to be something that you're going to look forward to attending, not just because you have a question or whatever, but you want to see people on the call, the faces on the other side of the screen, so to speak. So at that, I'm going to wrap up, and I look forward to talking with you soon. This is Mike Raber, and goodbye for now.